Today, we are diving into one of the most fundamental concepts in programming, if statements. What is an if statement? Let's see it in action. Here is a basic example. This checks if 5 is greater than 3. Since it's true, Godot prints 5 is greater than 3 to the output. But if we had if 5 is less than 3, the code inside the if statement won't execute. Why? Well, because the value that we get from the condition is false. Memorize this rule. The if statement will only execute its code when the condition is true. Alright, this was the simplest form of an if statement that we can have. Let's make it a little more complex. Let's say that we have a condition, but we need to do two different things depending on whether it's true or false. That's when we have to add an else statement to our existing if statement structure. Take a look at this. Here, 2 isn't greater than 3, so the if part is skipped, and the else part runs, printing 2 is not greater than 3. Pretty handy, right? Here is another example, but this time we are using variables. We have a first num variable and a second num variable. Since first num is equal to 10, second num is equal to 100, we are basically checking if 10 is less than 100, which is indeed true. So the code inside the if gets executed and the code of the else statement gets ignored completely. If we switch the values of these variables and made the first number to be equal to 100 and the second number to be equal to 10, then the else statement would get executed, since 100 is not less than 10. Do you get it? If the condition is true, the code inside the if statement gets executed. And if the condition is false, the code inside the else statement gets executed. Notice that the condition that is false is always skipped. The code inside of it is never executed. The Elif statement. Sometimes you've got more than two options. That's when you use Elif, short for else if. It lets you check multiple conditions. Here's an example. We've got a variable that holds the number 5. And now we are checking if the variable holds a number that is bigger than 10. Do this. Otherwise, if the value is bigger than 5, do this. Otherwise, if the value is exactly 5, then do this. And finally, if none of the conditions were true and nothing got executed, then do this. Godot checks each condition top to bottom. The number is exactly equal to 5, so the code inside there gets executed and it prints number is exactly 5. Notice that we've written double equal signs. This is when we are comparing two values. We should never use only a single equals sign because, as we already know, the single equals sign is used when we are saving values inside of variables. Memorize that the comparison operator is written with two equal signs. Booleans, true and false. Speaking of true and false, let's talk about Booleans. A Boolean is a data type that's either true or false. If statements love Booleans because that's what conditions evaluate to. Check this. So, Boolean variables basically hold a true or false value, and this is very convenient because we can modify our code to look like this. As you can see, all we did was that we just moved our condition logic inside of a variable. We are saving either a true or false value and then we use it inside the if statement. Just remember that all we care about is that we have a true or false value. We don't care how we get it. We might even get this value from the execution of a function that returns a Boolean result. Let's check it out. We make a brand new function that returns a Boolean. Then we save the result of the return statement inside of a variable. and then we use it inside the if statement. We combined so much knowledge that we acquired from part 1 of the tutorial series. We use the function, a variable, and then we combine it with the new thing we learned, if statements. Very cool. For our grand finale, meet the exclamation mark sign, Godot's negation operator. It flips a boolean. True becomes false, and false becomes true. It's like reverse logic. Here's how it works. The code will execute because we are reversing the logic. We are holding a boolean that contains a false value inside of it, but because we use the exclamation mark in front of it, that value gets reversed, and from false, it becomes true. Note that the variable container still holds the false value. We are not editing or changing the actual value that is saved. The negation operator does the reversal only in the context where it's used, currently only in the if statement. That's it for if statements in Godot. Experiment and practice the examples to become a master at if statements. Thanks for watching. If you like this, hit that like button and subscribe for more Godot tutorials. Drop your questions below and I'll see you in the next video. Happy coding!